previous sessions where we did the cleaning and shaping of this mandibular molar, where we could locate the canals. This is the large distal canal and two mesial canals, the mesiobuccal and the mesiolingual. So in this video we are going to demonstrate on how to proceed with the obturation or sealing of these root canals. So this is a step-by-step procedure. So let us look at the key things that we need to consider. Since we need to obturate it, we have options like bioceramic sealers we can use. We can directly do the mineral dioxide aggregate obturation or the traditional obturations with gutta percha and the sealers. So the considerations that you may choose based on the clinical things. So the first step that you need to consider is drying these canals. Now there are various strategies to dry these canals. One is the traditional method is definitely the paper points. So when we try to dry these canals, we can use the paper points. This is one of the traditional methods. So there is a question from one doctor that do you conduct courses at your clinic? Sorry doctor, I don't conduct courses at my clinic, but I do train the students mostly online and in a mentorship program. So if you want to learn anything, you can join the one-to-one mentorship going on in this channel as a membership program, where I teach with the basic and the clinical things or whatever topic you choose in a one-to-one program. So this is a membership program that you can consider in the membership section. And that is one-to-one mentorship. So now continuing with the paper points that we keep into the canals. So these paper points should be kept for at least 30 seconds. Minimum is 30 seconds into the canal. The other things that you need to or you can use is the surgical tips from Coltine. They are specialized suction tips, you can say, designed to suck the moisture and dry the canals. But the things that you have to remember over here is that this is only based on the traditional methods of obturation. Once you are planning the obturation with bioceramic sealers, so bioceramic sealers should not be completely have a dry canal because these bioceramic sealers are hygroscopic in nature and they would set only when there is slight moisture in the canal. So your paper point should come out extremely dry, or they should not contain any contamination, no debris, no blood marks, or the pulp tissue should be there. So that suggests your canals are dry and are not weeping canals, and this is the time you are ready with the obturation or proceeding with the sealing of these canals. So the second step after drying these canals, you need to consider the master cone, and the master cone should be the last file that you must have used inside these canals. So the last master file that we used was 2506, that is the 6% taper. So over here we have this 2506 once we have dried the canal. So this is just we are consider taking the radiograph that is the master cone IOPA, before proceeding with obturation, so that the GP points reach up to the biological apex and not the radiographic apex. The biological apex is determined with the help of a apex locator, where apex locator reading, whatever reading it shows at 0, we have to minus that reading or consider a reading 0.5 to 1 mm short of that reading. So since over here you can see that there is one GP point, so and still there is a space, so you can consider adding an additional GP point over here and then taking the radiograph. So the concept is to provide the best seal that you can provide. So here 2 GP points are going in the distal canal, and now this is the time you can take the radiograph. So there are 4 GPs, 2 in distal, single large distal canal, there are 2 GP points, and 1 in mesobuccal canal and 1 in the distobuccal canal. So once your master cone radiograph is taken, see there is a tug back. That is, whenever I try to remove this GP point, there is a resistance. This is very important. If there is no tug back and there is a loose GP point, that would not have a good sealing, and this would just come back when you try to seal it in the orifice area. So once this is done, the second step, that is the master cone radiograph, is done. The third step over here is, over here we are using the traditional method, that is we are using the Serafel RCS. This is the bioceramic sealer. And with this bioceramic sealer, so this is Serafel RCS, this is a bioceramic sealer, and we are using this bioceramic sealer to obturate the root canal. So what we are going to do is, we are going to coat the GP points that we have with the sealer. So now what we are doing is, we are just coating this in a traditional method. See, over here we have coated this GP point with the bioceramic sealer, the Serafel RCS, and now we are going to insert it. Let us first introduce into the distobuccal canal orifice, coat it against the wall, and now finally place it. There should be a tug back. See, there is a resistance when I try to remove it. Once we have got it, still there is a space, the space that you can see over here, this space. So there is no not a proper sealing that is there, so we need to insert one more gutta percha point. However, this is a single canal. Still, we need to introduce another GP point over here. So now you can see that there are two GP points that are loaded into one single large distal canal, and this is the time we can proceed with sealing of this distal canal. So we would use the GP point. So this is an extra sealer, and the distal canal is sealed completely. And now proceed with the obturation of the mesial canals. See, the canals in this case are not completely dry. That is, there should be no complete drying, since this bioceramic sealer needs moisture to set in. And now is the time to obturate the mesial canals. So again, we are going to coat the GP point with the bioceramic sealer. And let us first obturate the mesobuccal canal. Insert the GP. Try to pull it back. There should be a resistance when you pull it back. The tug back should be there. You are coating the walls with the sealer, and there is good sealing of the canal. So you don't need an accessory GP point over here. And this is the time you can seal it up with your obturation pen. Done. Try to seal this GP point that is in excess. Try to seal it in the, or confine it into the orifice. Done. And now we are remaining with the mesolingual canal. So again, for the mesolingual canal, the same step, we are going to coat it with the bioceramic sealer. There is a tug back. And now we need to seal up this canal orifice. So again, this should be sealed. So now all the three canals have been sealed. Now you need to, the fourth step over here is you need to clean up this entire chamber. You can use first the moist cotton to eliminate the debris or the excess sealer that is coating up the floor of the pulp chamber. And the next thing you may use this is the safe tip AtoZ bar. So you may use the safe tip AtoZ bar to remove the excess sealer. See, now you have cleaned up the chamber of the excess sealer that is on the floor, and this is the time you may again use the cotton to clean up the floor. This is the time you may use the dry cotton. This was the fifth step. So we are going step by step. This is the fifth step where we are cleaning the floor of any excess sealer that is there, and we could clearly see the orifices that have been sealed. So now we can clearly see the orifices that have been sealed. The mesobuccal orifice, the mesolingual orifice, and the distal orifice with two obturation or the GP points, and there is an excess sealer still. So the obturation part is done. You can begin to take the radiograph if you wish to. Now you can clearly see the sealed orifices, the distal orifices being sealed with the two GP points, and the mesial orifices. Now the step begins is after taking the radiograph and you have confirmed that the sealing is appropriate, the root canals have been obturated. This is the time you may start with the post-obturative restoration, that is the buildup of this tooth. So initially what you may use is the etchant. So over here we are using that 37% phosphoric acid. This is from 3M. This is a liquid etchant. Keep it for roughly around 30 seconds. After 30 seconds you can wash up with slow running water, then blow dry the area. Once you have blown dry in a slow mist of air, this is the time you may use the bonding agent. So my question to all of you is, when we are applying the bonding agent, should our chair light be switched off or not? When we are applying the bonding agent, should our chair light be switched off or it should be kept on? So now applying the bonding agent. Once you have applied the bonding agent, never directly cure it, just have a little mist of slow air than the fast air, so that the bonding agent spreads uniformly in the micro porosities, and then cure it for roughly around 30 to 40 seconds. Once you are curing it for around 30 to 40 seconds, this is the time we first need to introduce the flowable composite. Over here we are using the fusion flow. This is the fusion flow from Prevest. So initially we are going with the low viscosity, so that it occupies the confined areas and the micro elevations and depressions of the tooth inside. See how we are just sealing up the chamber initially, not up to the rim but up to the canal orifices only, and that's all. And this is the time to cure it. Again 30 to 40 seconds is enough. So again applying the second layer of the flowable composite. And let it flow. Do not pull up the syringe tip directly, let it flow. Being in a low viscosity, it would flow into the difficult areas. So now your flowable composite has acquired the difficult area. This is the time to cure it. So now your flowable composite has acquired the pulp chamber area, and this is the time you can introduce the bulk fill composite. So this is the time you can introduce your bulk fill composite and pack or build up the occlusal anatomy. So this is the bulk fill composite that we are using, and now we can just spread it onto the occlusal anatomical aspect and start building the occlusal anatomy of the tooth. So this is a time taking procedure. So you need to build up step by step, and since you are planning to do a crown, so you can have a gross buildup of this bulk fill. So having it condensed into the cavity, you can cure it. So now adding the second increment, and one or two increments is enough, since you need to prepare the tooth. You don't need an anatomical buildup. So adding the second increment. So this is the time you can have the anatomical aspect of this tooth. And you may use the applicator brush to just have the confinement of the composite. See, we are using the applicator brush over here to have the bulk fill confined into the occlusal aspect. And now cure it. Cure it for around 30 to 40 seconds. So this is how the post-endo restoration should be, that it is sealing the entire occlusal aspect. And now you can start with the tooth preparation. So in the next session we are going to cover up how to begin with the tooth preparation to receive the crown, and more specifically we would plan out the type of crown and the tooth preparation for that is required. So hope the step-by-step demonstration was clear to you, and thanks for watching. We would be back in the next live session probably tomorrow. Till then, bye bye, take care.